Good evening, everybody. I got messed up a little bit on the intro. Sorry about that. But no worries. Welcome to the last and final episode of Unlocking Lore Dark Mode. We have a lot of fun with stories that are dark and deep and secretive. I hope you guys have had as much fun as I did. And as always, Dunadan, thank you so much for coming. So glad you can make it. Avery, as always, supporting independent artists wherever they are. Rayron, I am sending you classic wing hugs. And wow, so Phil's here tonight. What's up, Phil? Thank you so much for coming. I hope you can stay on for the entire session tonight. We are going to have a very, very special story. This is a premiere of a story that like I said before in previous episodes, I did have to ask for permission for this particular tale. And it comes from a Scottish ballad. And why did I have to ask for permission? Usually, I mean, you guys in the States more know more of this than I do. But when I think it's 50 years after the person or the author has passed away, his works or her works go into public domain or public domain, so anybody can use it without permission, and they can use it however they want, and they can receive money for that. But in this case, this Scottish ballad is from the 16th century, more or less. So why did I have to ask for permission for this particular story? Because it is an adaptation of the ballad Lord Solus and Hermitage Castle in a more modern version of the tale. So hey, R2, so glad you can come. We are going to have very, very exciting news for upcoming after the weekend episodes, actually, which is going to be very, very cool, very exciting. This coming weekend, also, I have the Halloween hangout. So if anybody would like to go on, try out the StreamYard. If anybody would like to hang out with me, I will be streaming from 8 o'clock Central Time to 9:30 this coming Sunday, Halloween night. So it's just a geek hangout. You can come in cosplay or not. That depends. Totally depends on you. It doesn't. I may dress up with my the only cosplay that I have, but it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun, definitely. So, as you can see, my bearings are different. And I do not have the internet connection that I usually do. So if there is any issues, just please let me know so that for the next time, if I am here at this right now, I'll change my place so that we can all have a better experience for our stories. So yeah, it's going to be is there going to be a mini bar? Well, that depends on you. Some people do drink, some people don't. A digital mini bar, I don't think I can arrange that. I may put it up in my Teespring store. That would be a good idea. By the way, don't forget to go check out my Teespring store with Unlocking Lore, both the normal logo and the dark logo, the dark mode logo. It's gonna be great. You get some really, really nice merch there. I know R2 has just got his a beautiful white mug and a very, very cool sticker of Unlocking Lore, and that really helps because it does help independent artists like me, go out into the world and have a place of my own. So yeah, go get some merch, go check it out. And I think we're ready for the story. I don't know about you guys. Phil, I have to ask you a question definitely for you. Have you ever been to a storytelling presentation before, a storytelling episode? Let's see, let's see. Have you ever been to a storytelling episode? Phil, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle? I think I think he has it. I think he has it. Anyway, so I hope other people will be joining. But anyway, I think it's time to begin. Now tell me, O sprite, so fierce of might, the death that I must die, while you shall have a charmed life that hold the life of me. Against lance and arrow, sword and knife, I shall your warrant be. Nor forged steel, no hempen band shall your limbs confine, till three folds of sifted sand around your body twine. If danger to press, knock thrice on the chest, turn to the rusty pads with bound. Turn away your eyes when the lid shall rise, and listen to the sound. It was a cool, sunny afternoon when May was walking by Hermitage Castle. She knew that Hermitage Castle was off bounds. She knew what held there. The Warlock, evil, cruel Lord Soulless lived there. Soulless, who was a warrior but also a magician, wanted it to grab the throne of Scotland for himself and went against the king. Thankfully, they were able to grab him and throw him in. All his comrades were hung. But amazingly enough, they didn't do anything to Lord Soulless himself, just confined him to Hermitage Castle. There was nothing subtle about Hermitage. The grand monolithic castle with its big walls, hardly any windows, harbored the Warlock. Nobody would dare go near it. For they said that in there also was a cruel creature that Lord Solons himself had grabbed and entwined and kept shut. No, May would not go in there. But unfortunately, that day, her cat, little Morgan, had run away, and she was actually looking for him. She saw little Morgan near the boundary walls of Hermitage Castle, and she tried to get to him, but unfortunately, the cat jumped onto the wall and scrambled in. She ran all the way to that wall, but she dared not go in. Was he still alive? She knew that she saw guards once in a while, but actually, the cruel lord still live, the Warlock. May decided to go in. So she picked up her skirt and jumped over that wall and stealthily crept along the lands of Hermitage. She spotted little Morgan. He was very, very near the castle walls. She looked around to see if anybody was there, and she went and sprinted over to the cat. And just about when she was going to get to it, she felt hands on her shoulders seize her. She looked around. The guards had grabbed her. She screamed and wrestled, but they didn't do anything. They grabbed May and marched her into the castle. Speechless with fear, May knew that once she entered Hermitage, there was no going back. Would she come out there alive again? She didn't know. Perhaps the warlock had already passed away and was to be kept for trespassing. But as she went inside the cold, damp, dark castle, she heard rustling, like chains bound and somebody trying to force their way out. They went to a huge door inside the castle. The guard knocked. Yes? We found someone, said the guard. Who is it? The door opened on its own accord, and May saw what she had never dared to see and never would have wanted to see. Cruel Lord Solus. His eyes, red as blood, long dark hair, and a cruel smile. What she intrigued her most was that behind Solus there was a chest that Solus quickly had shut down with 3 padlocks, rusty padlocks. When Solus looked at May, his eyes were not as fierce as they once were. Come, my dear, he said. I am charmed that you came to visit me in this castle. May tried to struggle with the guard, but he pushed her all the way towards Solus. He extended his arm and caressed her. What a beautiful maiden. Thank you for coming. And all of a sudden, the chest started to move with its own accord. May's eyes darted to the chest, as did the warlock's, but he only lost his composure for a moment. He put his hand on the chest, and the chest calmed down. He looked back at May, and he started to thank her for the visit. May was half listening to what he was saying. Her attention was more to the chest that had been moving, and she could almost hear something saying, a rhythmical sound as words were coming out. But she barely couldn't hear what he was trying to say, when all of a sudden she heard how Lord Solus had said that they were now going to be together forever, and they would marry. This snapped her out of her daze, and she blurted out, but I can't. Why not? Said the warlock. May knew that she had to think of something. I'm sorry, but I'm promised to another. Oh, said the warlock. Oh, I'm sorry. And who is this fortunate young man? May knew by the grin of the warlock that she had done wrong, so she didn't say anything. The warlock again asked her, who was this young gentleman, this lucky man who had won her heart? May didn't say anything. Lord Solus asked again and again and again until he was shouting, demanding to know who he was. But May would not tell him the name of her beloved. Until finally the warlock calmed down. He said, well, that's all right. We'll talk about it again. We'll talk about it again when you're feeling a little more reasonable. And he signaled the guard to take her out. May was put into a cell, and for 3 long days, they never gave her anything to eat and nothing to drink, starving her. But she didn't say anything. It would be the end of her fiancé, she did. Until finally, at the end of the 3rd day, she heard noises as 2 guards were pulling down somebody else. May saw through the bars of her cell young Brankson's heir, her beloved, the one she was betrothed to. How could the warlock know? How did he find out? As the guards took the young man to his cell, they opened hers and took her out, and took her up all the way to another room, beautifully dressed this time. But she was so shaken that they had found out who he was. May had to think of something. She couldn't let her loved one just die because of her. She didn't sleep that night. So the next morning, she came up with some sort of a plan. She went down to the breakfast room where the warlock was enjoying his. She came up to him and said that she had spoken rashly. She wasn't betrothed, as she had said, but she was courting another. Therefore, with tears in her eyes, she said that she was free to marry. The warlock stood up, grabbed her hands. His was rough, brutal, and it smelled almost like blood. Oh, well, that's wonderful. Well, then we must be married. Let us say on the eve of All Souls. That'll give us some time. But that's next week, said May. Yes. Well, I've been arranging things while you were thinking of how you were going to accept my hand, said the warlock. She didn't dare say no. During the next few days, she went down to the warlock's dining room. She stood with him. She sat by him. But she was sick with worry, for her loved one was still underneath in the dungeons. She wanted to go down, but she didn't dare. What if what if somebody actually grabbed him? Until she thought of something. One morning, she went to the warlock and say, I noticed that you have brought a young man. I wanted to thank you for bringing him. He will make a wonderful bridesman. If if I could just talk to him to tell him the details, uh, that would be enough. The warlock, a little bit weary, said yes. So May was able to go down to the dungeons. In one of the cells was her beloved. She wanted to run to him, but the guards were still there. So she paced up and thanked young Brank's son to have come and that she was going to be married. And will you be my bridesman? She said, looking up at his eyes. Brankson's son knew that something was happening, so he agreed. Very, very quietly, he said, perhaps a last hug, a last embrace, he said. May couldn't resist, and she flung her arms through the bars and he his, embracing each other as hard as they could. The guards grabbed May and tried to take her away. And Brank Sancerre grabbed her hand and pushed something into her hand. She knew it was important, so she closed her fist as they stripped her away. Up they went. The guards thankfully didn't notice that her fist was closed, and they threw her into her room. She opened her fist and saw that it was a big piece of cloth. She opened the cloth. It was his shirt, and there was a message written with the only ink that he was able to produce, his own blood. She didn't know exactly what it said. She barely knew how to read. She didn't have that education. But she was able to read something, a few letters. Hermitage. It must be a message. And May knew, of course. I was in the estate when they grabbed me. But they must have taken him from the village. And that's against the rules, against the law. He could be hung for this, said May. But how to take the message out? That night, May didn't sleep, thinking of ways to send the message. But fate played a hand. At dawn, she heard something right outside her window. It was a meowing. She quickly and very carefully opened it and saw little Morgan looking up at her, asking for his meal. Morgan, said, up. The cat tried to jump, but it was too high. So she knew what she had to do. May went down to breakfast, as she always did with Lord Solus. He would sit close to her now, whispering in her ear the things that they would do when they were married. She dared not take her head away, and her Her skin got goosebumps every time that she felt his breath on her neck. But she was able to summon the courage to ask if she could go out. The warlock didn't like that. But she said she needed the fresh air. She wouldn't go far. Hesitantly, he agreed. And after breakfast, May was walking out. Guards were placed at the exits, for her safety, of course. But May didn't go near the exits. She went around Hermitage Castle and found little Morgan. "Come here," she said, and the cat went to her, and after she petted him, she very carefully tied the note onto its paw. "Go on now, go on home," said May, and the cat ran off. The guards looked at the cat, but after a while they lost interest and kept on looking at May. She said. It was only 3 days till her wedding day. And each time, Lord Soulless would get closer and closer. But one night, he was not as close. She felt that something was wrong. Lord Soulless would sit in his chair, grabbing a knife and twirling it in his finger, his eyes cruel and dark. He was thinking of something. And he got up and went down to the dungeon. May couldn't stop not going, so she went after him very stealthily. But instead of going to the left-hand side, where her beloved was, he went to the right, to a big, huge, heavy wall, heavy door. He opened the door, and she could hear again something that was there. Now that she noticed it, the chest was nowhere near any other part of the castle. Was it here? Through the wedge of the door, and she saw it. The chest with 3 padlocks. The warlock knocked thrice on it. Boom, boom, boom. The padlocks opened on its own accord, and the lid lifted. But May didn't see anything that came out. Just a shadow projected on the wall. And the warlock didn't look inside, but just talked to it. Now is there danger? My spies say that the king's troops are coming near Hermitage Wall. Should I now feel the danger that is pressed? And a voice came out. While your life bear charmed, while you hold the life of me, against lance and arrow, sword and knife, I shall your warrant be. No forged steel, nor hempen bound, shall your limbs confined, till 3 folds ropes of sifted sand around your body twine. If danger do press, knock thrice on the chest. With rusty padlocks swayed, turn away your eyes when the lid shall rise, and listen to the sound. Yes, but they are coming. Danger comes, but be not wary, for I am here to protect thee. But be careful, for an evil tree will plant before thee. When May heard this, nor sword, nor knife, just ropes of sifted sand, how could they possibly not be able to kill Lord Solus? And when Lord Solus heard that there was danger coming up, he was very, very worried. But how? How did the kings know? Who told them? Your eyes full of lust that cannot see the clues underneath your nose. She who would set young Branson free and is hidden behind the door. When May heard that, she gasped, and Lord Solus turned around and saw her. She tried to run, but he was faster, and he grabbed her by the shoulders, turning around. Is that so, my bonny May? The chest started to move frantically, and it started to say, bring her to me. Do you hear that, bonny May? The red cap is hungry, lust for blood. I have not given it. But you will be the first in many a years. May was frozen with fear. Sweat started to come down. But don't worry. Before I give you in, there's something I want you to see. And I would not want you to miss it for the world. May saw the guards pass by Lord Solus and open the cell where young Branson was held. They dragged both him and her outside Hermitage Castle into the forest, near a river. They tried to set themselves free, but they couldn't. Lord Solus was too strong. Name the tree, said Lord Solus in his cruel voice. She knew that she had to name the tree where her beloved would be killed. A knife pressed on both their necks. Name the tree, or it will be here and now. Frantically, May looked around and said, the willow near the river. Lord Solus dragged young Branson all the way there and pushed him to the trunk of a tree. May was dragged also. She could hear the rustling of the winds, of the leaves that were blowing in the wind, as she saw how he was about to kill her fiancé. But there was no wind. She noticed how the trees were moving, but she didn't feel the breeze. She looked around, and that's when she saw something that they had missed. Eyes peering through the darkness. Now! Cried a voice. when all of a sudden all hell broke loose. The king's men came and started to fight the guards of Lord Solus and Lord Solus himself. Young Brangson was able to set himself free when all of a sudden Lord Solus turned around and 3 of the king's men threw their lances at him. 1, 2, 3. Lord Solus fell. May and her beloved were able to embrace themselves after the nightmare that they had lived. And one of the guards came. He presented himself as Thomas of Erlerson. May told him everything that had happened. And when the 3 that threw their lances went to Lord Solus, picked them up, and plucked them out, all of a sudden the warlock got up and killed the 3 that were there. He came out, he ran away, and the soldiers chased him. But Lord Thomas said, "Stop." They let him go to Hermitage Castle. In he went down to the dungeon, all the way to the chest, and knocked 3 times. But nothing happened. He knocked again 3 times. But Redcap did not answer. Until finally, he looked inside the chest. And then came a wail, a scream, a shout so loud that May could hear it where she was. When they arrived there, they tried to find Lord Solus. And indeed they did. You think that you can handle me with just a few arrows and little swords? May had told them about the 3 ropes of sifted sand. So they, with all their might, grabbed Lord Solus and were able to drag him out of Hermitage Castle. They went to the glassmakers, where there was a huge furnace, and they were able to put Lord Solus inside a coffin. He looked around, knowing that he was guarded against all this type of things. "You think you can burn me?" he said, knowing that his magic was able to protect him. Until he saw 3 sacks of sand near them, and his pupils grew in fear. The guards put in that sand inside the coffin. "No!" he cried, and shoved him into the furnace. May never knew what had happened to Lord Solus, as you and I both know now. She didn't want to know. But she did want to know what happened to the chest. That horrible creature that wanted to suck her blood. When the guards went to Hermitage Castle to pick up the chest, they didn't find anything. Just blood splattered all over the place. May never went near the castle. In fact, she wanted to leave the place, but young Brangsung, well, his family was there. And to this day, Hermitage Castle stands strong, but no one dares come near it. Now, the question that I ask you, would you dare? Thank you so much for coming to this, our last episode of Unlocking Lore Dark Mode. We had so much fun. I hope you guys have had a lot of fun listening to the story. I hope you haven't felt it too long. Aleja, thank you so much for coming along. If you are still here, thank you for listening for all the way here. Dreaming Tabitha, thank you so much for coming. Tim, welcome. Welcome to Unlocking Lore. This is my storytelling podcast in which I tell stories to you guys, basically. I am a professional storyteller. That's what I do. That's what I love. And for the past 3 months, I have been enjoying the company of amazing people who love stories as much as I do, and have discovered a new art, performing arts, which is storytelling. So thank you so much for coming, Masters of TDS. Thank you for stopping by, Writing Raven. I loved your book. I loved your book, Writing Raven, and I did not spoil, as you know. So thank you so much for coming. Avery, how much if I do? Sorry, nope, I do not have the money. You know that. So that was so amazing. Thank you so much. I really do hope you liked it. It is a very, very challenging story. As you could see, I didn't think it would take me so long to tell it. If you want to hear the really, like, the original one, which it's a little bit different from the one I told, but they have a lot more, like, they have music, and they have special effects, like sound effects during the story. You can go check that out. I will be in the description later on, where you can get the story of the Warlock from Lore and Legends, Tales of Our Mythical Past. And these are two storytellers. I think Rick Scott is one of them. I don't remember the second one. But these are the ones these two gentlemen are the ones who crafted the story for tonight. So yeah, thank you so much, Dunadan. I want to say thank you so much. You're making me blush, and thank you for staying on. I know it is 10 o'clock at your time right now, so thank you for staying on. And yes, Writing Raven, you got to tell me when your second book is coming out, please. I need to know some information. So yeah, I'm really glad. I have 11 people watching right now. It is a blast to have so many awesome people on here. Really, it does. So, and for those of you who think that can enjoy storytelling, there's always the reruns. I mean, it's not as fun as hanging out with you guys and just, talking to each other, even though it's through chat. It's still a lot of fun live streams. So, and talking about live streams, before we go, Amen Faith, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I don't know if you've heard many stories. I am a professional storyteller, but I'm also, I consider myself still a Padawan. I have a lot to learn. Definitely more stories in the coming to open the repertoire. I will be having guests who are veteran storytellers on this channel very sometime soon, and hopefully next week I will have my first guest on Unlocking Lore, a storyteller who well, he has to get back to me if he can for next week, but if not, then we'll move it to the second week. But anyway, talking about live streams, remember that this coming Sunday at 8:00 p.m., for those of you who want to hang out and are not going out trick-or-treating, or just don't go trick-or-treating at all, remember that I'm going to be hosting a live stream hangout, just geek, goth, nerd talk, hanging out. You can come in your cosplay. I definitely have my, I didn't tell my parents, but I have all my paintings, all my stuff here for my costume, which I do not know if I'm going to use it, but at least I do have my face paint ready if necessary. So that's a lot of fun. That Rayron, I know you're up to it. You sent me a message through Twitter, which is awesome. I love hanging out with you. And Rayron, congratulations for getting that Queen Barrel. That is amazing. Really, really amazing. I'm really happy for you, and I'm really happy for every single one of us. I do want to give a special shout out to TDS's video that just came out. Before the story, I was listening to it because I do listen to some stuff apart from the story. I do concentrate, but sometimes you need to hang out. You need to blow some steam. And I did listen to a story to TDS's video on how he came to what it is. It's a video from August. I hope you guys listen to it. It's really, really, it's really moving to think that he went through that and he found us. Well, I found you guys, but he found a lot of great people like we do on in this great community of Twitter. Twitter can be, quite a nuisance sometimes, and if you don't, find the right people, it can be toxic. But thankfully, we have found each other. We have found Rayron. We have found Dreaming Tabitha, Rick, Writing Raven, TDS. We have found each other, and that is really a blessing. I am really blessed. I am really grateful. I'm really humble with Avery and Sam, who is all the way in India, and sometimes is here. So shout out to TDS on his video. I really say go watch it. It's really moving. So anyway, so that's all I have for tonight. I think it is 9:05 here, and as you can see, I have in a different bearing. I hope you guys like it. It's just going to be for tonight. Next week, I will be going back to my same place. So, Dunadan, yes, I'm really glad to meet you. And Gato. I'm sorry that Gato, she said my name. Rick, of course. R2, sorry. No. R2, of course I'm going to say your name. No. We are all this is an awesome community. We have built something really, really special. And even though not all of us are here specifically on this channel, we do find each other on Discord and on Twitch and on other people's channels. It is amazing the things that we share. It is amazing. So thank you so much for your friendship. Thank you so much for the community that we are building. And hopefully we can help a lot more people out there to find each other. So yeah, that's it. That's it. Hopefully I'll be able to engage next time. Yes, Aleja, I know you like stories. So I hope your grandma's okay. I really do. Anyway, that's it. I think that's it. Everybody have a very, very good night. And I will see you, the ones who can, on Sunday, 8 o'clock. DM me, message me if you guys want the Streamlet link so that you can join the fun. Just hop in and hop out. Doesn't really matter. It's going to be from 8 to 9:30, just an hour and a half in which we all just, we just hang out together. Okay? You guys are all cool. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys next Sunday. Bye. Take care.